In this video, we are going to determine whether two straight lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. We determine the relative positioning of the straight lines or relative status of the straight lines with respect to each other by comparing their slopes. And to find the slopes of these two straight lines, we just need to use the formula, slope formula. M is equal to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Once we find the slopes of these straight lines, what we are going to do, we are going to compare the slopes. If the slopes are equal, then the lines must be parallel. If the slopes are negative reciprocals of each other, then the lines are perpendicular. Or if you multiply the slopes and you get -1, then the lines are perpendicular to each other as well. These are equivalent statements. And then finally, if these two conditions do not satisfy, then the lines are neither parallel nor perpendicular. Now let me go ahead and label these points. I'm going to call this one x1, y1, x2, y2, and also label this one. Let's call this one x1, y1, x2, y2. Now, by the way, these are for just labeling purposes, so I'm going to call this slope m1, and the slope of this one I'm going to call m2. So I'm going to find two different slopes. So my m1 is going to be y2 minus y1. y2 is -9 minus y1. y1 is 5. x2 is 7 minus x1, which is -3, so we need to put it inside the parentheses. Now I'm going to simplify it. In the numerator, I get -9 minus 5 is -14 divided by 7 plus 3, because these negatives are going to make it positive when multiplied. And then that's going to give me -14 over 10. 2 goes into 10 5 times, 2 goes into 14 7 times. So my m1 is equal to -7 over 5. So that's my slope of the first line. Now in exactly the same way, I'm going to find the slope of the second line. So, and I call that slopes m2. m2 is going to be y2 minus y1. y2 is 4 minus y1 -3, put it inside the parentheses to avoid confusion. Then x2 is 7 minus, this minus is from the formula, this one, x1, which is 12. Again, if we simplify it, we get on the numerator 4 plus 3, because negative and negative is going to make it positive. You're multiplying. Then 7 minus 12 is -5, which, by the way, tells me is 7 over -5, or -7/5. So my m2 is equal to -7 over 5. Obviously, it's pretty easy to notice that m2 and m1, they are the same value. That means m1 is equal to m2 is equal to -7 over 5. That means both of these slopes are equal, which means that these two lines are parallel to each other. Now, had it been the case that these two numbers were not equal, in that case what we would have done is basically we would have multiplied m1 with m2 and see whether we get -1. If we did get -1, that would mean that these lines were perpendicular. On the other hand, if we did not get -1, that would mean that the lines were not parallel nor perpendicular. Therefore, it must be neither parallel nor perpendicular. I hope that this discussion was helpful. Thank you very much.